Parshas BaMidbar does not contain much drama. It is a record of the census of the people and the arrangement of the machane, the arrangement of the encampment. And there is a lot of detail, a lot of numbers. And raises the question, exactly what are we meant to extract from it? So I'd like to make a couple of points about Parshas BaMidbar, and then perhaps see how this relates to Shavuos, because Shavuos really is the holiday that always falls in the week of Parshas BaMidbar. So there must be some connection, at first glance. There's an amazing observation which was made by various writers, that in Sefer BaMidbar we have a different word for the tribes that we find in other places in Tanakh. You know, the standard word which is used for the tribal divisions is the word Shevet. We speak of the 12 Shvatim, Shevet. And in Parshas BaMidbar, with a couple of exceptions, the word that always is used is the word Mateh. Mateh. Now the interesting thing is that these two words really mean the same thing. They are both types of wooden sticks. A shevet is a type of stick, and a mateh is a type of stick. How does this become a word for a tribe? Essentially, because the person who is in charge, he wields his power with a stick. He holds a shevet, he holds a mateh. So by extension, the group over which he rules is called the shevet. In other words, the original meaning of shevet was the stick. Ultimately, it came to be a term for the group of people which is ruled by the stick. There is evidence that there is a sense in which we use shevet, which bridges the gap. That shevet may once have meant the leader who holds the shevet. And for example, if you look ahead in Parshas Nitzavim, this goes way ahead, there is a pasuk which says, "Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lefnei Hashem Elokeichem." You stand today, everybody before Hashem, Roshechem, your heads, Shiftechem, your tribes, Ziknechem, your elders, Vishotrechem, and your officers. So the word Shiftechem doesn't fit. Speaking about the leaders, Roshechem, your heads, your elders, your officers. So why do you put Shiftechem right in the middle of that sentence? So the Torah T'mima offers a very beautiful conjecture, very simple pshat. Rashi is told by the question. But he offers a conjecture that Shevet really has three meanings. It's the rad, it's the person who bears the rad, and ultimately means the people who are controlled by the rad. So initially it starts out as the staff, then it becomes by extension, the term that applies to the leader who carries the staff, and then it becomes the people that are controlled by the staff. So the pasuk over here is using Shiftechem in the middle sense, that it's the symbol of leadership and it refers to the leader. But al kapanim, throughout the Tanakh, the word for tribes is shevet, which means a staff. Now the word mateh also means a staff. But somehow it's only in Sefer BaMidbar that we really use the word mateh again and again and again. I think if you do a computer search, you'll discover that it's about 90 times used in the Sefer BaMidbar, the word mateh. And the question is there a difference between a shevet and a mateh? So people that look into these types of things have pointed out that there is a different connotation of these two types of stick. Shevet is the type of wooden stick with which you use to beat someone or something. So, for example, the shevet of a shepherd is the rod which he uses to keep the sheep in line. There we use the expression shevet, not the word mata. The word mata implies something that you lean on, like a cane, a crutch is a mata, because you lean on the mata. It's also a wooden stick. It has a different function. And I think that when we speak about the head of a shevet with a shevet, or the head of a tribe with a mata, we're talking about two different relationships between the person governing and the person or group being governed. When we talk about shevet, we're talking about power. In other words, if I am in charge of this group of people and I can boss them around and tell them what to do, so they are my shevet. They are my shevet because these are the people that I control with my shevet. Mata means something else. Mata means these are the people that I lean on to carry out my vision. Like my staff, so to speak. Okay? In other words, my staff is not just the people that I boss around. My staff are the people that I need to carry out my ideas. So in a sense, yes, I do boss them around, but on the other hand, I am totally reliant on them. I'm dependent on them, because it's only through them that my vision can be realized. So the tribe, which is governed by its leader, right, is both a shevet and a mata. In other words, it is a shevet in the sense that these are the people that the leader can order around. You go here, you do this, you do that. So in that sense, they are a shevet. They are a shevet because they are controlled by a shevet. On the other hand, they are also the mata of the leader, because the leader leans on them, he relies on them in order to realize his vision. That's the subtle difference between the word shevet and the word mata. The fact that in Sefer BaMidbar we use the word mata almost exclusively implies that in Sefer BaMidbar, with the organization of the machna, it isn't simply a question of the heads of the shvatim wielding power, but actually there is some tachlis, there is some objective, there is some goal, which is going to be realized through the staff, so to speak. Whereas the vision of the leaders is going to be realized through the activity of the followers. And that's why here we use the word mata exclusively. Which means that there is a vision that leadership has, which can only be realized through the organization of the machana, of the camp. And that's what our parsha brings out. And that means that the objective of Torah, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to achieve, cannot be realized by individual people. It can only be realized by the people working together as an organized unit. They have to function as a mata. You see, if every individual, every single person in isolation could fulfill the desired objective, then the leader would relate to each and every person with a shevet. In other words, I would direct you to your fulfillment, I would direct you to your fulfillment, I would direct you to your fulfillment. Right? There's no need for cooperation, working together. It's just that everyone has to do what he has to do to realize the ideal. But because there has to be cooperation, because there has to be integration, therefore everybody is reliant on everyone else, therefore it's a relationship of mata. And this we find really when the Torah was given as well. The Torah says that when Klal Yisrael stood at Har Sinai to accept the Torah, it was ki ish echad b'leiv echad. They accepted the Torah as one man with one heart, meaning that they were unified as a people. And the Torah makes a point of this. It uses the singular expression to bring out the idea that they were ki ish echad b'leiv echad. Why is that so important? The answer is because Kabbalah Torah, accepting the Torah, is not something I do as an individual. It's something I do as part of a group. because the Torah can only be realized, its objectives can only be realized by the group working in harmony, and therefore they have to be Kiyesh Echad B'Leiv Echad. That's one thing which I think emerges from the parasha. Another thought, the Medrash over here, Medrash Rabbi in the beginning of the parasha, points out that the Torah was given with three things. Torah was given with fire, Torah was given with water, and Torah was given in a desert. And the Medrash brings psukim to show that this is the case. Fire, of course, the verse says back in Parshas Yisro that the entire mountain was on fire. So we know that the Torah was given in fire. Water is not explicit in the Chumash, but if you look in Sefer Shoftim, in the Song of Devorah, when the great prophetess Deborah recounts the giving of the Torah, she mentions the fact that there was rain, that those clouds that were over the mountain were rain clouds, and the rain was falling. So therefore, we see the Torah was given with water. And the fact that it was given in the desert, that our parsha says, that God spoke to Moshe BaMidbar Sinai, in the desert. Now, really, we could have brought other psukim that tell us already that it was given in the desert. This is, we know from the book of Shmos already, but the Medrash says it in our parsha. So the Torah was given with fire, with water, and in a desert. So what does that teach us? So the Medrash says, first teaches us that just like these three things are free for all, right? Fire is available to everybody. You don't have to pay for fire. Water, rainwater, is available to everybody. You don't have to pay for rainwater. If you want the water to be brought to your house in a pipe, you might have to pay for that. Or if you want it to be delivered in a bottle, you might have to pay for that. But if you're willing to stand out in the rain and collect it, it's free. You don't have to pay for that. So water is also free for all. And a desert, in the desert, everything is free. Right? The land is unowned, it's hefker, it's ownerless. So therefore Torah is the same way. Torah is free for all. So there are no income requirements, you don't have to belong to a certain group to be able to study Torah. Torah is free for all. So just like the Torah was given, again, in a desert, in fire, and with water, because these things are free, so Torah is free. Then the Medrash goes on and says something else. It says, and furthermore, the significance of Torah being given in the desert is because it teaches us that a person must be humble to receive Torah. So if a person makes himself like the desert, he'll receive Torah. So what does it mean to make yourself like the desert? The desert is a wasteland, it's empty, nothing there. So if a person sees himself as being filled with accomplishments and filled with distinguishing aspects, so he'll lack humility. But if a person makes himself like a midbar, like a desert, then that person can receive Torah. Chazal say this elsewhere. Chazal say on a verse in Parshas Chukas, we'll read in a few weeks, the Torah says, Umi midbar matana, that from the desert we received the gift. And it means the gift of the Torah. The gift of the Torah was given us in the desert. But Chazal say on this, that a person who's mesim, asmo, committed, or a person who makes himself like a desert, Torah nitin lo matana. Torah is given to him as a gift. Now, in the second interpretation of the Medrash doesn't go back to explain the meaning of the fire and the water. Right? In the first interpretation, it says that fire, water, desert all symbolize the same thing, which is that it's free for all. In the second interpretation, where desert symbolizes humility, it doesn't tell us what the other two symbolize. So what does the fire symbolize? What does the water symbolize? It doesn't say. So here the commentators give various interpretations. The Sfas Emes says the following, that fire symbolizes enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, hislahavus. Whereas the Hebrew word for enthusiasm is related to the word for flame, lahav, to be on fire, so to speak. And that's, of course, very important. If a person wants to learn Torah, master Torah, you have to approach your studies with enthusiasm, with excitement. That's fire. Since water is the symbol of purity. Purity. And a person has to live a life of purity if a person wants to absorb Torah. Because we know that a mikveh is comprised of water. So water is the symbol of purity. Purity from what? A person has to be pure from the objects of desire. Whereas if a person is self-indulgent, if a person seeks to gratify his physical pleasures, so that is antithetical to a life of Torah, a life of scholarship. And therefore, a person has to be pure of type of lust and desire. That's what the water symbolizes. And the desert symbolizes, as we said, anova, humility. So these are conditions. There has to be enthusiasm, and there has to be purity, and there has to be humility. And these are traits in which a person acquires Torah. I would like to suggest perhaps another meaning to the three things, the three aspects of Torah: the fire, the water, and the desert. That maybe it means the following. Let me share with you a very interesting verse in Tehillim. The pasuk says as follows. It's talking about Moshe Rabbeinu went up to heaven. It says, "Olisa lamoram," you went up on high. "Shavisa shevi," you took captives. "Lokachta matanais ba'adam," you purchased gifts for man. "Af seirim," so that even the rebellious Lishkan Ka'elokim can bring God to dwell in their midst. Now this is an amazing thing, that Torah has the power to transform. But through learning Torah, through observing Torah, even people who are Seirim, even people who are rebellious, who are wild, they can bring the divine presence into the world. That's a tremendous gift. But when it talks about Moshe bringing this gift, it says, you took captives, you took prisoners, you went up to heaven, you took prisoners, you purchased gifts. The Beis Levi points out that these three expressions don't make sense. Whereas first you tell me that it was a captive, as if to say that Moshe went up to heaven and he kidnapped the Torah, he stole the Torah. Shavisa Shevi, you took a prisoner. Meaning they didn't want to give it to you. And Chazal, in fact, do say that. Chazal say that the angels did not want that Moshe should bring the Torah down. But Moshe went and he stole the Torah. Shavisa Shevi, you took a captive, you took a prisoner. Then it says Lokachta, you bought something. Now, to buy something means that there's a agreement. That you pay and you get. That's what it means to buy something. Matana, which is a gift, is something which is given to you for free. So what was it? Did Moshe take the Torah as a prisoner? Did he buy the Torah? Or was he given the Torah as a gift? What does it mean? So, the Beis Levi says an amazing, amazing thing. He says that when we talk about learning Torah, there are three different levels of learning Torah. Chazal say the following. Let's say a person says, Yogati v'lo motzasi. I labored in Torah, but I wasn't successful. I didn't achieve. I worked hard, I tried, just didn't learn anything. So the Gemara says, Al Tam, don't believe the person. It can't be. It says, if you work, you'll be successful. So if he says, Yogati, I worked, v'lo motzasi, I wasn't successful, Al Tam, and don't believe him. On the other hand, if he says, Lo Yogati u'motzasi, I didn't work hard and I was successful, I managed to achieve without hard work, also Al Tam, don't believe him. It can't be. Yogati u'motzasi, if he says, I worked hard and I achieved, Tam, and then you can believe him. Meaning, hard work is a necessary condition and a sufficient condition for acquiring Torah knowledge. It's a necessary condition, meaning without hard work, you're not going to get anywhere. If you say, I didn't work hard and I was successful, don't even believe the person. Now, that doesn't mean to say that he can't know some things. Maybe he'll know a few things. But to really have a comprehensive knowledge of Torah, that can't be. It can't be that it comes without effort. So effort is a necessary condition. But one might have thought, okay, it's a necessary condition. But who says that it's enough? Maybe you need something extra. So Chazal say, no, it's also a sufficient condition, meaning it's enough. It's necessary, but it's sufficient. It's enough. And therefore, if the person says, Yagati, so I worked hard, but I wasn't successful because there was something else missing, there's some other requirement, I'll say, no, don't believe him either. Can't be. It's a sufficient condition too. It's if you work hard, you will be successful. There's no other way. This is the only way. It's a necessary condition, but it's a sufficient condition. But the Gemara says that this is only lechadudi. This is only to be able to have a sharp understanding of a concept. But lu'ukma girsa, but to establish the correct reading of the text, so to speak, here, siyatahim and shemaya, in addition to effort, you also need divine assistance. Now, what are these two levels of lechadude and lu'ukma girsa? Now, it's hard to explain it, but if you've spent time learning Talmud, Gemara, you discover an amazing thing. That to say something clever, to say something insightful, if you work hard, you'll be able to do that. When you work hard at a given text, and you think it through, and you analyze it, and see what the commentators say, you'll be able to see something sharp. You know, to answer a difficult passage of the Rambam, or to answer a question that Rabbi Eliezer, great Talmudic scholar, asks, his questions are considered challenges in the world of Talmud. With effort, you can do that. With effort, you can do that. With hard work, you can do that. But to have the entire subject arranged in order, understanding all the angles and all the issues, and have a comprehensive knowledge, and how from the Chumash the law is developed ultimately through the Mishnah, and through the Gemara, and through the earlier commentators, and the later commentators, until the final halachic rulings. It was not just to say something clever, but to really have a comprehensive, fundamental understanding of the entire picture. Right? That's a lot harder. That's l'ukma girsa. That requires, in addition to effort is still a necessary condition, but it's not a sufficient condition. You also need siyata d'shmaya. You need divine assistance here. So therefore, again, if a person says, I was able to accomplish it without effort, again, don't believe him. Effort is still a necessary condition, but it's not a sufficient condition. It might not be enough. You need something extra. To achieve this higher level of l'ukma girsa, for that you need divine assistance as well. Effort and divine assistance. Then the Beis later goes on and he says, but there's another aspect of Torah which is totally a function of divine assistance. Effort plays no role because there is nothing you can do to achieve it. Now, what does that mean? There's nothing you can do. So let me just illustrate it with a mashal. You know, there are certain things in life that you can achieve through your effort. Okay, you need divine assistance too, but effort plays a role. So, for example, let's say starting a business. Right? No one is going to say that hard work is a sufficient condition for success in business. It's maybe a necessary condition. You need siyat d'shmaya, you need divine help too. Because, you know, the best made plans can go awry if Ribbono Shel Olam throws a monkey wrench into the works. So certainly, in addition to your hard work, you also need siyat d'shmaya. But your work is a vital element. Because if you're starting a business, you have to have a good location, and you have to be selling the right merchandise, and you have to advertise properly, and you have to have a business plan. You have to have some idea of what you're doing. And on top of that, you also need divine assistance. But there are certain things in life that there's nothing you can do to achieve them. It's totally mazel, it's totally luck, right? You know, if you walk in the street and you find a $100 bill lying in the street, so what are you going to say? You're going to say that, I got to start walking more, right? I got to walk more. If I walk 5 miles a day, I'll become a millionaire finding the $100 bills on the street. It's not true. There's no hishtadlus. There's no effort you can exert to find money. No, you can walk and walk and walk and walk and walk and walk and walk, and you'll never find a $100 bill. If one day you find a $100 bill, that's min hashamayim. It's God put it there for you, so to speak. There's no effort. There's no hishtadlus you can make. I'll tell you an interesting thing. Since we have a young man here who's a chassan, who's engaged to be married, I'll mention an interesting thing that once there was a certain person, certain Rav, was asked, listen, it says you have children, they're married. It says, what did you do? Like, what effort did you exert to find spouses for your children? Like, what is the hishtadlus? What can you do to network and, like, what do you do? So he said like this. He said, there's a verse in Psalms that talks about different pathways. It speaks about derech oniya b'lev yom, the path that a boat takes in the water, or derech nesher b'shamayim, the path that an eagle takes in the sky. So the Rav said like this. This is an odd expression. We think of a path. You know, if I make a path through a field, so you can see the path. This is where the grass is trampled down. Maybe if a lot of people follow the path, the grass is totally destroyed. So there's a path. People can follow the path. But a boat goes through the water. After a while, there's no path. The water just comes together again. There's no path. There's no trail left in the water that you can follow the boat. It says, when an eagle flies in heaven, right? So derech nesher b'shamayim says there's no path. You can't follow the eagle. There's no recognizable path that the eagle took. So this Rav said shidduchim is the same thing. He says, what do you want? I should tell you my derech, the path that I followed, and you're going to follow the path? There is no path, right? The path to shidduchim is just like the eagle flying in heaven and the boat in the water. There's nothing you can do. It's totally siyata min shemayim, totally from heaven. It's inexplicable. You know, it's not like starting a business or going for a degree or something like that where there's a pathway. No, you want a degree in science, chemistry, physics, whatever it is. So there are a lot of people that have done it before, and you ask them, what courses did you take? I took these courses, went to this school, I took these tests, etc. So you follow the same path, and with hard work, you'll be successful. But there are certain things that there's no path, there's no system, there's no way, it's totally siyata d'shmai. See, in Torah, there's also things like that. What parts of Torah are like that? So basically, Levi says the sodos, the secrets of Torah, the mysteries of Torah. This is a part of Torah that you cannot achieve through your own effort. There's nothing you can do to reveal the mysteries. Because you can look at the Chumash, all day, and read it from every angle, backwards and forwards and forwards and backwards and up and down and down and up, and you'll never come to understand the mysteries, the secrets. The mysteries are a gift from the Ribono Shel Olam. There's a famous vertel that the Vilna Gaon said. One of the aspects of the mysteries of Torah is gematria. Gematria is the numerical value of words. Every letter in Hebrew has a numerical value. Therefore, words have numerical values, and sometimes the numerical values of phrases allude to certain things, because if you find different phrases that have the same numerical values, there's a correspondence. And this is one of the aspects of the secrets of Torah. It's called gematria. And the Vilna Gaon was an expert in gematria. The Vilna Gaon, there are many ideas that the Vilna Gaon brought out using gematria. And there was a person who tried to write a book on gematria. He tried to come up with some clever insights based on gematria, and was not really successful. And they couldn't understand that he had worked on gematria, 12 hours a day for months and months and months, and perhaps even years, and he came up empty-handed. And the Vilna Gaon, right, didn't spend any time on gematria. That's not what he was spending his time doing. But every so often, gematria would pop into his head, and it was like brilliant. It revealed some profound insight. So the person couldn't understand, how is it possible? So he went to the Vilna Gaon, asked the Vilna Gaon, and says, I work at gematria, and I don't come up with anything. And you're doing other things. You're studying Talmud, you're studying Jewish law, whatever it is, and all of a sudden this gematria pops into your head. How can that be? So he said like this. He said that in Eishes Chayo, in the Psalm we sing Friday night, it's really from the book of Proverbs. So it says the following verse about this woman, this was the powerhouse of the family. It says, Sadin Asasav Timkar, she makes a sheet and she sells it. In those days, one of the cottage industries was weaving. So she weaves a sheet and she sells it. The chagar nasna laknani, and a belt she gives to the peddler, to the merchant. So what does it mean? She sells the sheet and she gives the belt. What does that mean? She sells the sheet and she gives the belt. So the Vilna says it means like this. Let's say you're in the business of weaving, right? So you make sheets, you make cloth, material, etc. And you give it over to a merchant to sell. So sometimes you'll sell a large number of sheets, you'll throw in a belt for nothing. Here's a little something, here's a belt. Take it. Right? Since you're buying so much merchandise from me, I'll throw this in for nothing. This is a mashal for Torah. If a person spends his time learning Torah, and he works hard learning Torah, the revealed portions of Torah, he learns Talmud, he learns Tanakh, he learns Halacha. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu will throw in, here's a little tidbit here, here's a little gematria, too. So he says, but if you work at it, you think, I'll work at it, you can't work at these things. Right? There's no way, there's no effort you can exert which will generate gematria. At least meaningful ones. It's a gift. This is something which comes as a present from the Ribono Shel Olam. And so it is with all the other secrets of Torah. The secrets of Torah, we cannot have access to. It only comes as a gift. Yes?
Does anybody, like now we have technology, has anybody ever tried to do like word comparison, phrase comparison with technology? It's like, where you can do the mathematical calculation of words, of phrases, and seeing if has anybody tried that?
I'll tell you, people have tried it, but let me tell you what it's like. You see, if gematria or secrets was like looking for a needle in a haystack, you could streamline the process by technology. The problem is not that it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. The problem is like looking for a piece of hay in a haystack. In other words, there's so much, right? What has real significance and what is just coincidental and what is a false lead, and so on and so forth. That's the problem. The technology is going to help you to sort out the grain from the chaff. It'll only help you to discover something which is hard to come by. But when you come by it, it's there. In other words, if I wanted to sort, I have a lot of names, for example, and I want to find the one name that has a certain characteristic, and you might want to develop a computer program that can do that, right? But if you really are looking for something which isn't evident, how would a computer even sort that out? That's the problem. But this is the base lady says. So he says, those are the three levels of Torah. The first level is like taking a captive. When you take a captive, that's something you do through your own effort, unilaterally, right? The captive doesn't cooperate, right? You take him, you overpower him. That's the aspect of Torah that a person acquires through his own effort. That's l'chedudei, sharp insights. That comes as a function of a person's own effort. That's compared to taking a captive. It's done through your own effort. The next level of Torah, which is Ukma Girsa, to have a clarity in Torah, which requires as well Siyat Dishmaya, that's analogous to a purchase. In other words, in a purchase, you have to have both parties involved. Yes, I buy, but you sell. Right? You're willing to sell because I pay the price. So here too, it's not enough that I exert the effort. I need your consent. I need you to agree. Like as with God. God has given me Torah. I need His consent. That's what lokachta, to purchase is. Then there's another level of Torah which is a gift. It's matanais. It's a gift. It's a divine gift. So let me give you an application of this idea. There's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, not in this past week's parak, but in the week before's parak, which says like this: that one Mishnah says was before I misquote it. Why shouldn't I look it up? Don't want to attribute it to the wrong person. Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda ish kfar habavli omer. Rabbi Yossi, the son of Rabbi Yehuda, who is from the village of Bavel, said, "Halomed min hakatanim." If you learn from young people, young Torah scholars, l'mahu daima, what is that like? Lo echol anavim kehais. It's like eating unripe grapes. B'shayse yayin megito, and drinking unfermented wine. Because this scholar hasn't ripened, it hasn't fermented. He's a young fella. What?
Hasn't aged properly.
Hasn't aged. So therefore, it's like eating unripe grapes and drinking unfermented wine. If you learn from an older scholar, what is that like? It's like eating ripe grapes and drinking aged wine. So he gives two mishalim, two illustrations. In other words, unripe grapes versus ripe grapes, and unaged wine, unfermented wine versus fermented wine. Why does he need two illustrations? Why two illustrations? In other words, say that this is like unripe grapes, this is like ripe grapes. Or say this is like unfermented wine, this is like fermented wine. But why do you have to have two mishalim? So the Tosfos Yantif says, because there are two parts of Torah. There's the revealed part of Torah. No, there's the hidden part of Torah. The revealed part of Torah is compared to the grape. The hidden part of Torah is compared to the wine, the juice which is inside the grape. So it's true, both are true, that if you study from a young person, there's a deficiency both in the revealed part that he transmits and in the concealed part that he transmits. The revealed Torah that he teaches is like an unripe grape. The concealed Torah, the secrets of Torah that he reveals, are like unfermented wine. So both are not as good as they can be. You learn from the Zkanim, you learn from the elders, so again, it's like ripe grapes and like fermented wine. So far, so good. The Mishnah continues. Rav Meir Omer. Rav Meir says, Al tistakel b'kankan. Don't look at the bottle. Look at the contents. In other words, he's commenting on the earlier Mishnah. The earlier Mishnah makes a distinction between a young teacher and an old teacher. It's not so simple. Don't look at the bottle. Look at the contents. Yesh kan chodosh malayosha. You can have a new bottle which is filled with aged wine. The yoshan, you can have an old bottle, shafilu chodosh einbo, which is totally empty. There's not even grape juice in it. So don't look at the bottle. Look at the contents. So what he seems to be saying is that it's not a rule. Even if generally you could say there's an advantage to an older teacher versus a younger teacher, but it doesn't always mean that. Sometimes you can have a young teacher, but he's filled with aged wine. Sometimes you have an older teacher, he's empty. Empty. That's what it says. So the Medrash Shmuel asks an amazing question over here. He says that when Rav Meir is commenting, he only mentions the mashal of the wine. He doesn't mention the mashal of the grape. In other words, so if the earlier Mishnah has to give two mashalim, the grapes and the wine, so why does Rav Meir in his commentary speak about the bottle, the wine? What happened to the grapes? And I think the pshat is like this: that in the revealed portion of Torah, we said effort is a necessary condition. It may not be a sufficient condition. That's the difference between lechadude and lukmagirsa, the two levels. Say something sharp and have a comprehensive knowledge. But effort is a necessary condition. Effort takes time. Because if you want to master Torah, it's not like, okay, I'm going to work hard today, put in an hour, and I'm going to get it. Right? It's the effort of years and years and years and years and years. I'm not talking about the effort of like a good afternoon. Take an afternoon off, and I'm going to master Torah. I'm talking about the effort of years and years and years and years. So the difference between a yeled and a zaken, between a young person and an old person, is a difference which is it's undeniable. It's undeniable. You know, this person has been learning for 5 years, this person has been learning for 25 years, or this person has been learning for 5 years, this person is learning for 50 years. That's a difference that you can't dismiss. So therefore, when it comes to the revealed portions of Torah, and you talk about the grape, you can't say, no, don't be, not so fast. You know, there could be a big difference between the young person and it's not necessarily true. It could be the young person is just as good as the old person. That's not true. In the revealed portion of Torah, where Torah knowledge is a function of effort over time, this is pashut. This is obvious that there'll be an advantage to the young person over the old person. Now, I want to mention, by the way, that the old person over the young person. I want to mention that nowadays it might not be that way. Nowadays, it's a little different. Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because nowadays, since so much is already written, sometimes the younger scholar might just stumble across the book that gives the better analysis than the older scholar. In other words, let me put it this way. Let's say, for example, we have two scholars, two contemporary scholars. I'm, 80 years old, and my friend is 30 years old. Okay? And we're both preparing a class on a given subject. So I'm 80 years old, but I look at the Sefer, which has the analysis that was written by a 30-year-old, right? And the 30-year-old looks at the Sefer, which was written by an 80-year-old. So therefore, whose lecture will be better? The young fellow. Why? Because the young fellow is repeating the analysis that was made by an 80-year-old, right? And the 80-year-old is repeating analysis made by a 30-year-old, right? So nowadays, where a lot of the presentations aren't original, it's not a question of the age of the presenter, it's a question of the age of the source. Where did the source material come from? So, nowadays it can be different. But in those days, we're talking about before the Torah Sheba'al Peh was written. So therefore, analysis was original analysis. So therefore, the analysis of the Zaken is superior to the analysis of the Yeled. The analysis of the elder is superior to the analysis of the younger. So when it comes to the grape, so to speak, the revealed portion of Torah, so the difference is undeniable. Rav Meir is not going to disagree with Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda. He's not going to say that sometimes in the revealed portions of Torah, the young person is like the ripe grape and the old person is like the unripe grape. That's just not so. But in the hidden portion of Torah, in the secrets of Torah, anyway, that's a gift. That's not a function of your effort at all. And the gift is a function of your merit. If you do good things and God loves you, God will reveal secrets, and conversely, He won't. So here, age is not a factor anymore. Right? You can be a young person, but you have tremendous, tremendous merits. Therefore, God reveals the secrets. Or you can be, conversely, you can be an old person, and therefore, and you lack merits, so God won't reveal the secrets. So therefore, that's what Rabbi says, that when it comes to the secrets of Torah, which are symbolized by wine, don't look at the bottle. Because here we're not talking about something which is a function of effort. We're talking about something which is a function of merit, and merit is not age-related. A person who is young can be more deserving, a person who's old can be less deserving, and therefore when it comes to the hidden part of Torah, it doesn't follow. But when it comes to the revealed portions of Torah, even Rav Meir doesn't dispute it. There, where effort is certainly a necessary condition, then there'll be a difference in quality between the elder and the younger. Okay, this is just a thought. But getting back to our original medrash, the three things, fire, water, and desert, I think it means this. Fire, enthusiasm, that symbolizes the effort. That's the effort. Now you go into a base medrash, into a study hall where Torah is being studied, you can tell who's working hard and who's not working hard. Right? The people who are passionate, the people who are on fire, the people that are arguing, those are the people that are working hard. The people that are laid back, those are the people that are goofing off. You know, sometimes you go into the base medrash, you see two guys learning, and they're both staring at the Gemara, and they're not saying anything to each other. It reminds me of the story that I read somewhere. That, when they have chess tournaments, so there's a clock, a timer. So each person is given a certain amount of time to make his moves, and you make your move, you shut the timer off, and etc. So how did it start? How did it start that chess tournaments were timed? So the story goes like this. Once there's a chess tournament, and the two opponents are sitting at opposite sides of the table staring at the board, and they're staring for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And finally one says to the other, "Well?" And he says, "Oh, it's my move." And that was it. So they decided they had to have a clock to keep time.
Well.
But sometimes you see guys sitting there in a base medrash. I'm sorry to say, they're staring, and probably one says, "Well, oh, you're waiting for me?" Right? And the people that are really working hard, those are the people that are on fire. Those are the people that are passionate. Those are the people that are arguing. Those are the people that are debating. That's fire. Fire symbolizes the effort. And that's the first condition of Yegiya, is effort. Water, and specifically rain, because that's what the pasuk was talking about, that the clouds that were on Har Sinai gave off rain. Rain is the siyata deshmaya, that's the divine assistance that the farmer is given. The farmer exerts effort too. The farmer plants. But farming is one of those areas where you can never fool yourself into thinking that your success is totally a function of your own effort. If it doesn't rain, you're out of business. So the rain is the siyata deshmaya. That's the divine assistance that crowns your effort with success. That's the second aspect of Torah. Fire is not enough. You have to have rain as well. Right? Fire is your effort, your labor. Rain is the divine assistance. That's the second level of Torah. That even with the effort, you still need the siyata deshmaya, the divine assistance. That's the rain. The third level is desert. As we said, the Chazal say that the desert, BaMidbar matana, a person that makes himself into a desert receives Torah as a present. Meaning that humility is the merit through which we receive that part of Torah which is a gift. It's an amazing thing. Because humility is a wonderful thing. But it seems the Chazal tell us that it's specifically that aspect of Torah which is a gift, the merit to be deserving of that gift is humility. Right? People that are very, very, very full of themselves, that they lack that merit to receive the Torah that's given as a gift. Only the humble receive Torah as a gift. And that's the third aspect of Torah, the sodas, the great secrets of Torah. Maybe, this is a conjecture, but we mentioned that this medrash is problematic. Now this medrash makes a point. Torah was given with fire, was given with water, it was given in the desert, because it says over here, in our parsha, BaMidbar Sinai. So he pointed out, what do you mean it says here BaMidbar Sinai? Go back to Parshas Yisro, where the Torah was given. It says it was given BaMidbar Sinai. Right? Why is the medrash speaking about our parsha? I want to point out an interesting thing. The book of Vayikra begins almost the exact same way, with God speaking to Moshe in the Ohel Moed. But it makes no mention there that the Ohel Moed was in Midbar Sinai. It says, Vayikra Moshe, God called to Moshe, Vayidaber Hashem Elov me'Ohel Moed le'mor. God spoke to Moshe from the Ohel Moed, from the sanctuary. There, in the beginning of the book of Vayikra, there is no mention of the fact that the sanctuary happened to be in the Midbar. In our parsha, God is also speaking, right, Ba'ol Moed, in the sanctuary. But the Torah makes a point that where was the sanctuary? The sanctuary was BaMidbar Sinai. And it comes to Medrash and says, what's the significance of that? It comes to teach me that who receives Torah as a present? The person who makes himself like a midbar. So why just here? Why over here does the Torah make the point? You want to receive the Torah as a gift? You have to make yourself like a midbar. Why specifically in Parshas BaMidbar? The answer is as follows. We read this parsha, as we said, it is numbers, it is configurations of the camp. There seems to be no moral lesson here, no passion, no inspiration, no guidance, no nothing. It's just cold statistics. So how do you understand a parsha like that? You see, the answer is like this. And ultimately, this is the real answer. There are layers of Torah. There's pshat, there's literal meaning, and beneath that there are what's called remez, drush, and so the deepest meaning are the secrets of Torah. If you have a parsha which, on the superficial level of pshat, does not seem to be telling you anything, then you can know with a certainty that the real meaning of this parsha is on the level of so. That there are secrets embedded in this parsha, and that's really why this is recorded. In other words, on the superficial level, there's nothing here. There's nothing here that really... You'd be hard-pressed to find a lesson in Parshas BaMidbar. But that just means that really there are secrets here that are very, very deep. We mentioned that some of the secrets are contained in gematria, in numbers. So, well, plenty of numbers here, right? Now, as you analyze these numbers, you would discover all sorts of things. I'll mention that there was a great Mukubal, a great mystic, Rabbi Menachem Azaria Mifano. He wrote a famous collection of essays, Asara Maimaras, and in one of them, he goes through this parsha, and he shows how each of these numbers, the numbers of each shevet and each group of 3 shvatim, each camp of 3 shvatim, all the numbers mentioned in this parsha allude to divine names and gematria, and he shows that there are secrets in every reference here. It's all soidus, it's all secrets, it's all mysteries. Wow. And this is something we have to know, that when you have a parsha that on the level of pshat doesn't mean anything, then we can say with a certainty that its real meaning is on the level of sod. In other words, those parshas where the surface seems to be telling us something, they're also mysteries. But there's also lessons to be learned on the simple, superficial level. But parshas like this, if you want to know, like, what are we meant to take out of this parsha? This parsha is only understood on the deepest level of secrets. What is the key to being able to access those secrets? BaMidbar Sinai. That's as we said. BaMidbar Sinai. The person who makes himself as the midbar, the person who has that trait of humility, that's the person who is going to be given the gift of the secrets of Torah. And that's why this parsha specifically mentions that the Ol Moed was BaMidbar Sinai. The Torah is forewarning us. You have a parsha over here where the lessons that are to be extracted are all mysteries. So how do you access the mysteries? BaMidbar Sinai. If you make yourself like a midbar, you can have access to those secrets, right? If you aren't on that level of humility yet, then it's going to be a closed book. It says the other parashas don't have to tell us the Ol Moed was BaMidbar Sinai. It says we know it was in BaMidbar Sinai. There's no point. Here the Torah makes the point to tell us exactly this lesson. You want access to that part of Torah which has to be given as a gift, you have to be a person who makes himself like a midbar. The reason the Torah brings it out here, and the reason the Medrash brings it out here, is because this is one of those parashas where we yearn, we have this tremendous desire to have the secrets revealed to us, because the parsha on the superficial level seems to tell us so little. That it's I don't want to say chas v'shalom such a thing. It almost seems boring. You know, you'll go to shul with Shabbos and you'll hear the Torah reading, your eyes will blaze over. It's not going to command your attention. It's not like one of those stories that keeps you on the edge of your seat. You know, just more numbers and more statistics and more. There are secrets here, right? How do you get those secrets? That's BaMidbar Sinai. No, of course, we're far from it, right? But that's really what I think the kavanah of the Medrash is. That's what the Medrash is coming to tell us, that the secrets of this parsha are unlocked to those people who make themselves like the midbar. Yes, question.
So I hear a lot of rabbis saying, how do we get more Jews to participate in the world of Judaism? They're assimilating so readily, so fast. It's ridiculous. And to me, one of the things is it's very convoluted, very complex. And in a world of complexity, we're not prepared to make any effort. Forget about midbar. Forget about any of that. They won't even look at the book. They don't even have the book. They don't. Right? I'm not saying anything negative. I appreciate what you're saying. And until my son did what he did, I had no interest, and I'm not even scratching the surface, and I know that. But so my question is, given what you're saying and the complexity and the crypticism of all this stuff, so how do you envision that you get all these Jews that are assimilating to participate?
Look, I'll raise one point. Tell me, there's only one activity that I know of that doesn't require some training. There's only one thing you can do without any training at all. What is that?
I have no clue, actually.
Watching television.
Right? You have to turn on the remote.
I think there's effort, but you don't have to learn how to do it. It goes by itself.
I'm not saying.
Right? Anything worth doing, right, has a little bit of a learning curve. Sometimes a steep learning curve.
This is a steep learning curve.
So, for example, playing a musical instrument.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's easier to watch TV than to play piano. Right? But ask a person who's mastered the piano, which gives you more gratification. Right? Hands down, right? It's the piano. I think it's the same thing. I think what we have to do is, in a sense, hold out the promise and do a good job convincing people that, listen, it's hard, it takes effort, it takes time, but there's a payoff. And if you persevere, there'll be rewards. Now, since you mentioned this, if you're not in a rush, I'll tell you an amazing thing, because it's really relevant to the time of year we're holding out. We're counting Sfiras Omer. We're counting the days of the Omer from Pesach till Shavuos. And one of the odd things is that we always assume that the purpose of Sfira is to connect the Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus from Egypt, to the giving of the Torah. The odd thing is that we don't count from the first day of Pesach. We count from the second day of Pesach. Well, that's the day after. I mean, if we're trying to connect the Exodus to the giving of the Torah, we should be counting really from the first day of Pesach. Why do we start from the second day? That's that question. So there's an answer which is given in Sifrei Chasidus that says like this, an amazing insight. It says sometimes, if I want to get you to work hard, to achieve a goal, how am I going to motivate you? I have to give you a taste of
reward.
What the ultimate payoff will be.
Right.
So, for example, if I want to teach you how to cook, right, I might say, here, taste this. I baked this cake. Eat it. You like it? It's good. You want to learn how to do that? I'll teach you how to do that. But that gives you a taste of what you can achieve if you go through the entire course. The Ribono Shel Olam did the same thing. Right? Ribono Shel Olam, on the first day of Pesach, the Sifrei Chasidus tell us, the first day of Pesach, the Seder night, is a time of tremendous, tremendous religious enlightenment. It's a lofty, it's a holy night, and so on and so forth. But they say that was given to us gratis. That is not through our own effort. The first Exodus, the experience of the first Exodus, was certainly not a function of our own effort. We didn't deserve the miracles. And whatever aliyah, whatever religious experience we have the first night of Pesach, it's not a function of our hard work. We kind of fall into it. It says, but it gives us a taste. It gives us a taste for what we can achieve if we work hard. When does the hard work begin? The day after. Pesach, the first day of Pesach, is the taste of what we can have if we work hard. If we work hard, between Pesach and Shavuos, the ecstasy of the Seder can be ours every day of the year. That's what the Sifrei Chasidus tell us. Whatever spiritual enlightenment we receive the Seder night, we can have every day of the year if we work hard over these 49 days. And therefore, we start counting the next day. The first day gives us a taste of the pot of gold, so to speak, at the end of the rainbow. And then we work 1, 2, 3, culminating day 49, and Shavuos, the 50th day. Now, I think this thought really addresses your question. In other words, if we want to bring people back, right? You can't. There's no way to distill the process. There's no way to simplify it. We sort of don't want to have Judaism for dummies and dumb it down. That will corrupt the entire enterprise. But we do need to find a way that you can give a person a taste of what is in store if you stick with it.